And hello, everybody. We are live for episode 17 of the Crystal Crusaders. I am joined by my lovely players, except for Morton, who's in jail. No, just kidding. He's visiting in
Visitor.
jail. Very different. uh, anyways, everybody else is here, and we're just going to keep on trucking. The show must go on, as they say, and so let us get right into it, beginning as always with a recap of what happened last time by somebody who probably doesn't remember what happened last time.
I've,
Uh,
I've helped him out.
oh, he's been helped. Okay, we're good. So, James, if you wouldn't mind, would you go ahead and please tell for us what happened last time on Storm King's Thunder?
Last time, we came to Gauntlgrim, the great city in the Underdark. As we made our way through Gauntlgrim, through Mind Flayer control, we told them about the dwarves that we had encountered previously, and when they sent out a rescue party to go and retrieve them. My wounds still aching, my deformities still painful. They needed to find me a cure. We headed to a temple where others had faced the same fate as us, but unfortunately there was nothing that he could do. In fact, I was informed that the effects could even be permanent. The horror! The horror! Afterwards, when it was realized that staying there was the lost cause, we decided to make our way to a tavern area and find some rooms. I did not wish to be left on my own, and so I went with them. Alquill carried me, the chivalrous man that he is. After we did that, I wrote and we made rooms for the night. The rest went out to do some things, as I managed to help get a letter sent off to my master, Rexus Frayne, back in Blackstaff Academy. He sent me through the bag that they provided me with, a scroll of sending spell, but I can use to maybe communicate with those that we left behind. Although, as I have spent the day doing that, I do not know what has happened to the rest of my companions. They have yet to return. I do hope that they are doing okay. And there, that's your recap.
Yeah, so does anyone want to inform us what has, in fact, been going on while Alexei's been writing in her
Drow.
room?
Okay. Yeah, drow. That sums it up. Let's go.
Yeah, I mean, sure. Definitely
I wasn't
does.
even there, and I did that.
I was muted. Haha, I have been talking, and I'm like, people are talking over me. I was just like,
Classic.
yes, indeed. We after we left Alexei, me and Nibelung went down to the forge districts of the city to see if we could find myself some new armaments, at least get my silver sword repaired. After all, they are very important to me. I need them to do damage. And I was also looking for a new weapon, hopefully one of magical variety. Sadly, did not find one. But we did meet a dwarven forge master, or foreman, as his actual title was, yelling a lot about all the dwarves. He told me that there was another smith who did things on the sides. I talked to him, so if he had any weapon, I was like, "Nah, dude, I don't have any weapons." But you know who could make you like a good weapon? The first dwarf you talked to. He is like a really good smith, but he hasn't smithed in like months because he was appointed foreman of Gauntlgrim and has since been yelling at people. So using my clever cunning and the wordsmith that Alquill apparently might be sometimes, he went back to that dwarf, having noticed that he's kind of prideful, and convinced him that the other dwarves had been talking shit about him behind his back, saying his skills had been rusted. This was luckily enough, thanks with some advantage persuasion, to make him fire his buttons and make him say that he's gonna forge me a new weapon of sorts, just to show everyone that he still's got it. Told us to come back later that day. We then left to go back to the captain we had met earlier during the mind flayer control, and they had indeed retrieved their dwarven compatriots, but they had found nothing but the Durgard corpses and the corpses of the giants in those caverns. We did get paid for helping that. Alquil got paid, that is to say, because the payment was soon after spent. We made our way back to the Forge Master, who had now finished an adamantine battle axe known as Helgrim's Fury, because that's the name of the Forge Master. He's Forge Master Helgrim, and he required payments for materials, though he was so happy about having his fire reignited and spirit reignited by smithing that he did give me basically I only paid for the materials. So that's where the payment went from the captain. Luckily, nobody but Nibby knew about the payment, and Nibby didn't seem to care, so we don't need to tell anyone about that. Then, on our way back, we encountered Graknar, as we were going back towards the taverns to meet with Alexei, and that is when it happened. The city shook. Lights went out. Everything went dark, and we heard shouting and sound of metal clashing against metal. Following the sounds, we soon encountered a group of ferocious demons, quickly followed by drow. We fought them off, and after killing a few of them, they disappeared behind the wall. We walked behind it, and Nibby strained his eyes to find a spot where there was a secret tunnel.
It was very tiring.
It was very tiring, and it opened the door to a secret tunnel that led into a web-infested area, which we are now venturing forth into, chasing the drow.
See, I don't know why you got 4 to say that. I basically said all that already.
Where in all this was I?
You were just hanging out at the inn room.
Yeah, you're
you're Alexei's babysitter.
Awesome.
All right, so hopping back into things, yes. So we, you guys, I'm feeling generous, so you both can have inspiration for the recap. And
oh, whoops! I already had an inspiration.
well, sucks to be you.
How long have I had that?
Should have used
Since
it.
last time we recapped.
Whoa.
That's the only time we get inspiration.
Yes. So, we pick up back where we had left off. You guys will start with the group that is down in the forges. You guys, had basically just had this little scuffle with this group of drow and their shadow demon servants, and basically, they ran off into a tunnel, which Nibby sort of managed to find, and Graknar just went chasing after them immediately. The tunnel is choked with webs, and pretty soon after, he runs in there, Graknar comes, stumbling back, and he just sort of says something along the lines of, they got away.
Dark.
Right. Well,
He says, tunnels seem to go on for a long way.
all right. How long?
He just shrugs.
Right.
Are there any webs left?
No, so the webs were, it was only probably about, 40 feet of, webs. And once they burned away, now it's just the cave.
Alright.
Yeah, so obviously it's, pitch black in here.
Yeah. Should we perhaps mark the tunnel and warn the dwarves?
Yeah, that sounds like a good idea.
It seems foolish to just chase them blindly into an endless tunnel.
Especially since they got away from Greknar. He does seem pretty fast.
Yeah, they must be pretty fast at that point. I can't keep up with Graknar.
Alright. Does anyone have any way to mark this place? Magical or otherwise?
Well, let's go back to the entrance and see if the lights have come back. We were in the middle of the city.
Alright.
Alright.
I think you and I were actually at the entrance when I went in, since I just torched the
Yeah,
webs.
Nibby and Alco are like hanging out at the
Oh yeah, that's right.
entrances.
You torched the webs, and Grektor had to outrun the fire.
Ish, yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, as you guys are having this conversation, Greknar is kind of like coming back through, and you all kind of like step out into the hallway. It's pretty easy to make note of where the passage is. There are a number of like statues here of like dwarven figures. You're not sure whether they're like gods or heroes or whatever, but there's a number of statues, and you can pretty easily like pick out. Okay, so this is the one that it's behind,
Yep.
and as you guys are perhaps like walking back towards the forge, just to like find the nearest dwarves and let them know. I think you hear like the sound of like metal booted footfalls on stone, and you hear like shouting echoing through the cave. It says, "The bastards went this way after them." And after like a few moments, you see a large like party of dwarves, sort of in armor, running like down the hallway. And I think they see you and
Yeah.
stop, like point the one in front like points with his hammer, and he says, "You there?"
Greetings, I say in Dwarven.
And he says, yeah, he shouts out a command to the dwarves, like, surround them, and the dwarves quickly like begin to.
It's like, oh no, we are fighting the drow as well. We found a tunnel that they used to escape. We were going to show it to you.
They sort of like look at each other. Roll me a persuasion check, just real quick.
Am I still poisoned?
Yeah, because
Fuck.
that lasts like an hour. Okay.
Roll
Kill
on
them!
one, see if you automatically die.
No, so it's not like you can't like immediately. This is more just like you can't immediately. He's like, I'm sorry, but you're the first folks we've seen after this happened. You understand? You're key suspects in this now. We're gonna have to take you in for questioning.
Do we look like drow?
And he says, I don't know. I don't know that the drow did this. Nobody saw them.
We did.
Didn't we
says-
kill one?
Yes.
No,
you
you
can say
didn't.
that when you're in for questioning.
You didn't kill any of the drow. The only thing you killed was the shadow demon, and it disappeared immediately.
Oh shit.
Mm-hmm.
Fuck.
Oh well. Okay, let's reroll characters and start a new campaign.
Okay, so
Alexei, how good of a lawyer are you?
I see. So
Alexei could bail you out.
the next chapter in my prisons of the Sword Coast. Google.
Yeah, so I mean, like, the guards are going to, they walk up and they're just like, well, we're gonna have to take your weapons and take you in for questioning.
All right, I hand them the weapons.
Yep.
My weapons.
So they, you do that, and, yeah, then they, sort of, like, they don't tie you up in, like, manacles or whatever. They just figure, like, there's enough of us that you're not gonna do anything funny. And
Those fools.
That's where them raw guys do something funny.
No, maybe don't.
Careful, I'm gonna spot. I don't know why any of
Lightning
these.
starts crackling in my fingers.
and they lead you down the
Okay.
the tunnels to basically like the nearest guard quarters, as it were. Probably just like a makeshift building that's been kind of reconstructed to some degree. And I don't think it would take a while to get back to like where the actual like prisons would be. So I think it's more like they just kind of like throw you in a room and have like a couple of guards like watching over you. And they just say, don't move, we're going to go fetch one of the priests.
Do I get a phone call?
Says, what the hell is that?
It's just like I call friends. I was joking. Uncle was just like, yeah, okay. We'll be waiting here. Drows are escaping. I'm gonna go grab
Drow
ice
are
cubes.
escaping.
He mumbled under his breath.
I'm gonna
Like,
grab
don't get smart with me, boy.
I'm gonna get ice cubes. Be right back.
Okay. Yeah, so they set you down and basically are like, "Oh, wait here." So meanwhile, back up top, Alexei and Lucas, you are,
None the wiser.
yeah, you're not really sure exactly what's going on. However, Alexei, you've like finished writing your spell down, and now you're kind of trying your best to like relax and not be in crippling pain. When I think at some point,
Yeah, you're crippled still.
basically,
Yeah, I'm crippled still,
uh,
dude.
basically you both feel like even up top, you both feel the earth around you just like shake violently. I think Alexei, some of your things like that you were writing with just go kind of like flying off the table, spilling out onto the floor. Furniture kind of begins to like topple down, and basically like this like short but like incredibly intense earthquake kind of like rocks through the area, and like all of the lights throughout the city. There's sort of these like burning flames in like alcoves set into the walls. They all just like go out, and everything just suddenly goes pitch dark everywhere.
Okay.
Roll.
Ah! Cries out, Lucas!
What? I say as I'm probably asleep, and Ariel probably just woke me up.
Yeah.
Yeah, you run over to like Lucas's room, banging on the door.
Well, run is generous term,
Well,
Brad.
yeah,
She hobbles.
hobbles over.
But yeah, hobbles over. Lucas, there's been an earthquake.
Was there a cave in?
Well, no, but the rest of the guys aren't here, so you know. Do you think they're okay?
How would I know?
Lucas, go look for them.
Don't you have this fancy new spell to talk to them? Isn't it done yet? Do I know about that?
I mean, yeah, you
Oh,
probably
but
would have been
so-
like aware that like she had a scroll like delivered to her. I'm not sure if you knew exactly what the spell was, but
Oh, I probably wouldn't have then.
yeah.
So like, fine. I need to go take care of some things anyways.
Excellent. And then she'll say, I'll just see, and it says, I'll just check in on them anyway, magically.
Then
Oops.
why did you ask me?
We might
So-
need feet on the ground.
The thing is, Alexei, you just finished writing this spell and you didn't have time to
Alright.
prepare it. Yeah, so you
Alright,
can't
never mind
you
then.
can't actually use it until you take a long rest again.
Yep, never mind. Well, he has to go then. And I was like, if you want some company, I can come with you, but you will have to carry me. Unless you prefer going slow.
What's her?
Her speed is like hampered by
I look
10.
you up and down, and then like quickly I try to judge your weight without looking like I'm trying to judge your weight.
Roll a deception.
250.
Roll a deception check to hide it.
I mean,
Well, that wasn't a disadvantage, I don't think. Am I poisoned still?
I don't think
don't
you
think
should
it-
be. No, it's been more than an hour. Let me see.
I think it was exhaustion. Unless, did we get a long rest?
Yeah, you.
Okay, then I'm
It's
not
been
exhausted anymore then.
at least one day.
So yeah, that is a 24, I think. No, yes. So you do not know that I'm judging your weight. Could I carry her?
What's your carrying capacity? Like, what's your
I
max
think
carry
we tried this
or
before.
whatever? Yeah, but I think you tried it with somebody who was wearing like plate mail armor and was like
150.
150. It probably wouldn't exactly be comfortable for you, but you could probably do it.
Okay, considering I basically carry nothing on me at all times.
Yeah.
Fine. I can
You
go
think
on my normal speed and carry
you
her, is
you
the
think
problem, 'cause
perhaps
that's all that
she'd be
matters.
yeah, you think perhaps she'd be kind of like pushing it. Maybe she should like lay off.
Wait.
Maybe she should lay off the
Wait. Mask of carry more.
Oh, he puts on
I dig into the bag, put on the mask.
He puts on the giant dad
Don't
mask.
remember what that does, sir. But I
Do
just
you have
know
a
that
mask
can carry
of
more.
carry more?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so
That's
it's
what
like
I ended
a
up calling it.
When did
Uh,
we get that?
so what you stole it from a fucking
No,
bandit guy
it
you
was lit from
killed.
something.
Fucking Nivy attacked this guy and you killed him in cold blood and took all of his stuff.
Oh, right.
What?
This is when Libby was like a town ripper, basically.
Oh no, yeah, it was the bandit. It was the bandit.
Yeah.
Was it? Yes, it
Yeah,
was.
or not the bandit, but the looters. The looters. And then it was
The
like,
people who deserved it for looting dead bodies.
You know, the thing you do all the time.
yes.
Hey, I kill the dead bodies I loot. We kill as a group. It's us.
And that's
So it's
that's
okay.
that's
We didn't
somehow
kill them.
better.
It's better somehow. Okay.
Anyway, so yeah, it's this like wooden carved mask, kind of like this dark brown wood, that looks like this sort of older, kind of like figure, almost like a giant, and then it has like this sort of curly beard carved into the bottom of the mask, and basically it doubles your carrying capacity, if I remember correctly.
Alright, I wrote that down, so now I will remember what Mask of Carrymore does. Alright, I take it out, put it on, and effortlessly lift up Alexei onto my back.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Alright, let's go.
All right. So you begin
Let's go.
to make
Where
your
did
way.
they go, by the way? Alexei, do you remember?
Brad?
So they told you they were going to go. They probably told you about, like, you know, Alquil is like, oh, I got this blade forged or whatever for me. And so you figure they went down to the forges, which, I mean,
Is
you're
that
not.
sort of where I can find markets as well?
So markets would be in the area where you're currently at, but they're probably all closed because it's basically like nighttime right now.
Well, fuck.
Last I
Spend
heard,
all
they
my
hit
loot.
the market.
Well, Brad said the forge, not the market.
The forge. Last I heard, they head to the forge.
Alright, let's head to the forge.
All right, so you begin
Hopefully we
to
can find our way there.
you begin to make your way. Luckily, Galtogrim has some very modern signage, and so it's very easy to navigate. So yeah, you make your way down to the sort of train station at the bottom, the minecart train station at the bottom, and luckily it's not like so late in the night. The trains are still running, and so you hop on the first train available to the Iron Tabernacle, and from there you can get to the forges. So that train ride takes about it's pretty long. It's about an hour.
God damn.
Yeah, because like these disparate parts of Gauntlgrim like are not right next to each other. They're like miles away. And once you get there, you quickly like ask for directions to the forge. Run through the sort of various rubble-choked streets of the tabernacle, and take.
I want to run.
Well, yeah. You take an elevator. You take another elevator ride down. That's it's 45. It's like a 45-minute like elevator ride because the elevator is like really slow, like stone elevator.
I'm starting to really hate Gauntlgrim.
So it basically takes you about 2 hours to get down to the forges, or at least the
By
entrance to
then,
the
they've
forges.
already been like gone through the trial, found guilty.
And they're already dead. No.
Demanded the trial by combat.
So, you guys, back in
Real battle
the
hammers your fucking
back-
opponent.
back in the forge room, you guys have been waiting for just over an hour at this point in time, before you can hear like footsteps outside of the door, and it swings open, and you can see the dwarf guard, a few dwarf guards, and a priest sort of enters into the room. And they sort of say, all right, get up, you. And
All right.
the priest sort of enters into the room, and he shouts, he's like, lay down the enchantment. And the priest like nods and begins casting a spell. And you once again feel this similar sort of like wave of an effect spill out into the room. And again, you feel as though like you could resist whatever this is, if you
I
so
will not.
wanted.
Ah, you're cursed. Fool.
Yeah, so you don't resist, and so basically you sort of like feel yourself, and you just get the feeling like you are unable to lie at the moment, as the stone of truth has been cast. And so yeah, the guard, the priest like nods and says like, at least one of them has been taken. So, and he kind of gestures to you, and the guard like nods and then turns to you and says, "What is your name?"
Cool Redman.
And he says, "And what was your business here in Gautogrim?"
Well, we were lost in the Underdark, and we ended up here in Gothelgrim. We're actually trying to travel towards Waterdeep when we ended up being caught by pirates in Luskan, and were sold off to some lich who brought us into the Underdark. And we managed to escape, and then we wandered around for a bit, and then we arrived here. I say. I've already explained as much to the guard down in the what's the district called? Something.
Oh, that district. That sounds so district.
something district.
There's only three of
and,
them.
Yes, and after that, the business I've had here has been purely businessy. So
He says, "You're
What,
being."
what were you saying about wordsmith?
Said you're, and he kind of just
Yeah,
like
that's-
looks, and he's just like, "You're being awfully vague."
It's just like, well, we are traveling towards Waterdeep, and we were just going to rest for a few days. My compatriot has gotten deformed and cursed, and we're trying to figure out how to solve that. We're also trying to get in contact with our compatriots back in Luskan. And I got this battle axe forged by Helgrim, your forge master, foreman thing. As for right now, I'm here, explaining to you what I'm doing here, and
Yeah, so you go through all that, and while you're talking, there's like a one of the guards is kind of like writing everything down, and he sort of like nods, and then he's just like, "And what were you doing in those tunnels?"
we were actually on our way back to the trains to get back to the tavern. As we did, the earthquake happened. Everything went dark. We then heard sounds of like metal clashing. So we started going down towards that sound. Figured there was some sort of battle going on. As we did, these demonic shadow creatures showed up. We started fighting them. Then I got hit by a crossbow bolt. I pointed the bolt still sticking out of me. And the drow showed up, I say. We fought them, but then they quickly disappeared behind one of the statues of one of your gods. We went after that statue. It was just a wall, but Nibby here, I guess it was Nibby, was able to discover there was a secret passage behind it. We opened
I
up
look
the passage.
exhausted, by the way.
Hmm?
I look exhausted, by the way.
Yeah, and the passage, we opened up the passage, and it was filled with webs, which we burned. Graknar, I point towards the half-orc, tried running after the drow, but they were too quick, and it seemed the tunnel was going on for a while, so we decided to head back and tell the dwarves, that is you, who are in charge of this place, about the attack, about the drow.
Yeah, you see the dwarves are like talking to each other a bit, and he says, "So there were drow," and he says, "Tell me, did you see any of them carrying anything odd on them?"
I have
I'm
pretty
thinking
good
back.
passive perception, did I?
So yeah, you have pretty good passive perception. However, you never really got within sight range due to the fact that you don't have dark vision. So you couldn't really see what the drow were carrying. You only really like saw the demons, and like the drow basically like fled into the tunnels. I think Graknar was the only one who like actually like really saw the drow. And he's just sort of like, no, I was too focused on killing them. Couldn't see what they were carrying. And then
Um,
Yeah.
the dwarf kind of like frowns.
And we
Makes
can't
sense,
see in the
so.
dark.
He says, "Well, I can't fault you that." I said, "Those slimy bastards have a face that really screams kill me." Hmm.
He's an understandable drow.
Yeah.
And he just sort of like scratches his head and he says, all right, one last question. It wasn't you that stole Megara from the forges, was it?
No, what's a
that?
Megara?
And he says,
Surfacers.
and he says, what? You know nothing of Gauntlgrim and its history?
We kind of accidentally came here, so...
I came from the Icewind Dales. This is the first time I've traveled outside of the Icewind Dales, and history isn't exactly my specialty. And as Nibble just said, we came here because not by choice, but by accident.
And he says, right, well, I'm no historian myself, so I can't really give you all the details, but basically, this place was built around a prison. A prison for something real bad. And he says, and that thing, some sort of giant flame monster, from what I understand, is what powered the great forges of Delzoun. And he says, and now, somehow or another, it's gotten out and gone missing. And without it, the forges are dead.
Well, that is not good.
He says, not good. Not good. It's the understatement of the century. This is awful.
Wait, this is what happened right now, during the earthquake?
And he says, yes, didn't you notice all the lights going out?
I just thought that was because of the earthquake.
And he says, no, the earthquake was because the wards were broken.
Oh, that's kind of
Yeah,
bad.
really get better words.
Yeah, what are you going to do about that?
He says, you saw where those drow went, didn't you?
Yes.
Yes, we can show you.
Right, so he like sort of gestures over. He says, show us then.
Right.
All right.
And can I have my weapons back?
Yeah, he just sort of like grunts and kind of like gestures to one of the guards, who kind of like turns your weapons to you.
All right, thanks.
Yeah, so you lead him down the passageway, and I think at this point, as you guys are like coming back to like show him the tunnel, you see, or maybe at least like Graknar like sees like running down running down the tunnel, coming from where the elevator goes back up to the Iron Tabernacle.
That weirdo in a mask carrying.
And he's like,
Alexa.
he stops. He's like, what? There's some sort of strange guy in a mask carrying Alexei on his back. He's coming this way.
I'm just like, okay, that's a new taxi surface. That's a new thing. Is that look like squint my eyes? Like, do I know who that is?
I don't know. Did you remember the mask when I was using it earlier?
Who knows?
If not,
You're
you
there!
might remember,
Oh, our
like,
friend!
You might just remember like the shape of Lucas.
Shit, Lucas.
But
You
yeah,
have seen
like
it
all
standing
the
over your prone body quite often.
all the dwarves are also shouting like, "Who goes there?"
And just Lucas. You gonna say anything?
I stop when I hear the shouting, and then like I'm assuming I see them as well.
Yeah, I mean you have dark vision. So you
And I
can see
point at
them.
myself. I'm like, me?
I said, "Yes, you. Do you see anybody else here?"
You guys?
He says, "Yeah, but we know who we are. Who are you?"
Lucas?
And he kind of just like,
Oh, it's our friend.
ah. And he says, "Is that so?" And all the guards kind of like loosen their posture a bit.
Likely story.
And they say, Says, well, fine, enough of this. Where's the passageway?
Yes, let's go. Follow.
Oh yeah, so you, Lucas, you just see immediately like Elquil,
Then
Nibby, and
turn and
Graknar
continue on.
are just like they just continue. They're walking past you because they were going towards the
Were they?
the tunnel as you were coming towards them. So they just start like walking past you.
Continue carrying Alexa goes like go up to like Alquil and Nibby and like, so what's going on?
Yes, what happened to you all? There was an earthquake.
Did y'all cause
I got
that?
worried.
I whispered to him. Was that you guys? Did you do that?
No.
No.
Why would we do that?
Not high enough
Well,
level.
you're being escorted by a bunch of dwarfs right now, okay?
Oh no. It was the drow. They've stolen the fire.
Yep.
The
They
drow
what?
stole the fire.
And shadow creatures.
Yes.
I'll look over to the dwarf that yelled at me. He was like, "Are my friends being arrested for drunkenness?"
He just sort of just like shakes his head. And he says,
That's the thing.
it's complicated.
There's this. Oh, okay, Lucas. There's this giant fire creature that fuels all of the fire in Goldgrim, and the drows have stolen it. The dwarves want it back.
What, like a fire elemental?
Alexei, you can make a history check.
Dank. I like doing those checks. I always succeed at them. Oh fuck, I actually might have this time.
Yeah, so when they say that, you start thinking back on your lessons of history, basically, of the realms and all that, and you remember a tale. It is a long one from basically like part of it you're not really sure if it's actual like history or myth, but it goes way back to basically the creation of the world of Toril as it was, and there was a war between the gods and these beings of elemental power called the Primordials. And the war raged on for quite some time before finally ending. Most of the Primordials went back where they came from, but some were either imprisoned or chose to stay on Toril under like supervision of the gods. And one of these Primordials is rumored to have been a massive like fire elemental, essentially, known as Megara, and was imprisoned beneath the mountain of Hautenau, the volcanic mountain, which you know is where Gauntlgrim resides. And in fact, this long ago, human mages and dwarven smiths basically worked on a system to channel Megara's power from down below into the forges and allow them to create like magical weapons with his essence.
Oh, okay. Megara, did you say?
Mm-hmm.
Yep. So Lexi will say it's like, wait, is that old story, Megara?
And yeah, the dwarf nods. That's the one. Don't know much about it myself, but
I always thought that was a myth.
and sort of shakes his head and says, "Well, I thought so too, till we all found this place and saw what was lurking in the pits down below." And he sort of shakes his head. It's no myth, but he said, now that it's gone, so is gone our chances of restoring the forges to their true grandeur. And I think at this point you've kind of like reached where the tunnel is hidden behind this statue. And he like pointed out to the guards, and the guards like go to look, and they're like, "Yeah, there's definitely a passage here." He says, "We must have missed it when we were going over this place." And yeah, so they begin to like look into the passage, and, looking for like clues, basically, of where the drow could have gone. And meanwhile, the guard captain turns to you all and says, "Well, it seems like your story is true." And he says, "You're free to go then, I suppose. You have nothing to do with this."
Thank you.
All right, let's go.
Oh, good, we're not in trouble for once.
No, I didn't have to add another chapter to the Book of Prisons.
Wait, you have a book?
No, it's a joke.
Oh.
All right.
So let's go back in the end, guys.
Yes. Let's.
Um,
Unless we have other things we should do.
and yeah, you guys are kind of like conversing, figuring out what to do. And
What do we
you
hear? Scream.
you hear a shout from down the hall, and it says, "Captain, I think I found something." And you see a dwarf like exiting from the cave, holding what looks like a scrap of paper or something of those likes. And he says, "They must have brushed past something when they were running through the cave. It tore open a pouch. There was a number of contents scattered about. Looked like a bunch of strange stuff. Bat guano, some silk." I said, "A bunch of random junk, but there was a letter." He kind of like holds it up.
That guano can be used for magic, I think. I look at Alexei.
Brad?
Yeah, I mean, like, he listed off basically a bunch of, like, magical spell components.
Yeah. And Lexi nods. Indeed, they can.
And he just sort of says, "I think this is a lot worse than we thought." And the captain's just like, "What is it?" And the dwarf's like, "The drow. They're in league with the giants." He says, "What? Give me that!" And he just like hurriedly like grabs the letter. I mean, like, you guys are like just standing here while they're like having this conversation.
Yeah. I stopped the moment. I was like, "Wait, giants?"
And the
Alright.
the guard captain like quickly like scans over this letter, and you can see like the look on his face goes from just like confused to just like this like look of just like pure like uh-oh. As he's like reading through the letter, and he's just like, what? This is..."
What's wrong?
And he says, "I don't know how or why, but these drow, they were working for the fire giants. They make mention of a Duke Zolto. They said they gave them some sort of flask, told them to come here and steal the primordial, bring it to Iron Slag."
Fuck is Iron Slag?
And he says, "Another myth from the Dark Ages." And he says, said it's rumored to have once been a great forge of the giants. I said, but it was lost a long, long time ago. He said, a forge to rival Gauntlgrim. And if they've found it, and they've got Megara, who knows what the hell they could do with it.
Shit. Right. Well, as it would happen, the reason we were traveling to Waterdeep in the first place has to do with giants, I say. You've probably already heard this, but there's the giants are being quite active and destructive all over the place. In Icewind Dales, they attacked the city of Bryn Shander, and we were going to Waterdeep to seek aid, I say. But as the fire giants as well. In Icewind Dales was the frost giants. It seems, according to what knowledge we have gotten, there seems to be something that's been stirring all of the giant clans to start acting all strangely. It says, looking into this with the fire giants is probably going to be relevant to our search as well. If you would like, we could. Well, I can at least. I will not speak for the rest, but I will at least aid you as far as I'm, whatever capacity I have.
Yeah, the guard sort of like nods and says, "Well, all this is a little bit over my pay grade, as it were, but I'm sure the dwarves won't won't begrudge any effort that you make to assist us. He says, if you manage to find out whatever it is these fire giants are up to and reclaim Megara, he says, I'm sure that Brunor will reward you greatly.
Oh, good. Sounds excellent, I say. All right. I looked at. I look at everyone else. So, should we start looking into this?
I mean, yeah,
I guess.
we kind of came here for giants, like you said.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Fire giants. The fire giants have fun stuff. Okay, cool. Right. Well, should we head into the tunnels or should we prepare first?
I
And
think we should prepare
I
first.
think the dwarf like sees you like maybe considering going into the tunnels. He's like, I wouldn't exactly recommend that. We have no idea where these things lead, and it's like a labyrinth down there.
Is there anyone that may know the way that
He
uses
says,
these
Show me
tunnels?
the way.
He says, I doubt it. We didn't even know these tunnels existed until just now. It would probably take years to map them out in their entirety. I said, how the hell the drow knew about them is beyond me.
Blast it all.
Nothing can ever be easy. All right. Well, we will have this information then. Fuck. Right.
And he says,
Well,
he says, if you're truly intent on tracking down the fire giants, he says, we've heard word from Citadel Adbar and Citadel Felbar that they've had troubles dealing with them. If anybody has information on their whereabouts, it would be them.
Adbar and Felbar.
How far away are these places?
I mean, how good is
Let's
your
see.
knowledge of?
I'm asking the guard.
Um,
Or the
he says,
captain.
well,
Ah.
quite far. They're on the other side of the savage frontier, near the deserts of Anarok.
I look towards Alquil. What do you think?
Is like, well, we have the information. I say. I mean, it's a good lead, but I'm just looking over our quest log here. Give me a second. See if whatever leads we have, because right now we have our plan was to go to Waterdeep to maybe find out information about this Artisimber. Hill giants. We only know that there's like a queen of all hill giants. There was like the cloud giants. I mean, this is maybe the best lead we have, but we should perhaps discuss it.
Ah, so getting lost in the Underdark and coming here is all part of the plan. Got it, guys.
Sure, let's go with that.
Totally.
Wasn't just Brad not wanting the campaign to come to a screeching halt.
I beg to differ, but
Excuse me. Anyways,
How dare you for?
while you guys are deliberating on what to do next, I think now is a excellent time to take our first break. And
All right.
so we will be back in about 10 to 15 minutes. And we will continue then.
all right. See you then.
And
5, 4,
we
3,
are
2,
back
1.
with Storm King Thunder. All right. Yeah, so you guys have just basically at this point the dwarves are just like continuing their investigation, and they're basically like leaving you to your own devices. And yeah, so now like obviously it's like pretty late at night. Honestly, it's probably a bit past when you would have normally been like turning in for the night.
My math is okay.
Given the like 2-hour journey down here. And yeah, so what do you guys want to do? What do you guys want to do next?
Number 1, rest.
Tavern, I guess.
Yeah.
Tavern.
Zolstra and Alexis fucked. We don't know how to fix her yet. Yeah.
Why didn't we take Alexa to like some magical healer when
We
we
did.
got here?
We did.
Went to the temple. They couldn't do anything.
Oh,
They don't know what the thing is.
And they basically said like, well, some of them have healed, and some of them have not healed, and mostly it's been the ones with strong personalities, is how he described it, who have healed. No.
Alexa is screwed.
Yeah, that was our conclusion as well. Like the way he described it, like in game, I just out of game, like, okay, so those who have good charisma? Question mark.
Yeah. So, I'm pretty exhausted, so
Let's go back to the tavern. Yes.
let's have a
Anything
rest.
Closer than like the 2-hour one away.
Nope.
Nope.
Well, we have rooms there already.
Oh fuck.
Yeah, you did buy rooms. You did buy 1 night of rooms.
Well,
And I don't think we have any means of helping Alexei right now.
is it still like dark as shit? Can no one see anything but me?
Yeah, but I mean like there's no light here.
Yeah, because all the fires are out.
I light Calquil's torch that he picks up from somewhere.
What?
Do you
I'll
have
just
any torches?
I'll just
If
spam
not, everyone
produce
take
flame
my hand.
everywhere.
I do have torches. Yes, I can strike a torch.
You know, produce
Is
flame
that or
says you can
everyone's-
just hold the flame in your hand. You don't have to throw
No, I
it.
can't. That's why I said I cast it all the time. I just throw it everywhere.
You can just
It's
hold
like
it in your hand.
It's like a sonar. I just throw it like at the walls to see where the walls are.
Oh, anyways, so you guys make your way back through. It takes a couple of hours basically to get back to the main district, the Vault of Kings, and the main sort of like hub here. And yeah, you return to the tavern, and you can see the bartender, Brother Stoneforge, welcomes you back, and sort of asks like, "You gonna be staying another night?"
Yes.
And he says, well, you only paid up for 1 night, so it'll be another 5 silvers for the 3 rooms. So
Certainly.
15 silver in all.
All right. I'll pay the 15 silver.
All right. Yep, so he takes it and nods. Says, good night's rest to you.
But yeah, actually, I'll just give him 2 gold because I don't have 15 silver on me.
Oh yeah, he'll give you the change back.
Yep. All right. And right, yes, thank you. We will indeed rest up. I take the bolt out of my fucking body.
Your body.
I'm just like, oh right, this thing, and I'll just like drag it, push, take it out, and I'll. Then
So
heal
you like
myself with
you
that.
take it out. There's like a splash of blood. He's like, "Hey, do that in your own room." I said, "Do that again, and I'm gonna charge you a cleaning fee."
It's just like, sorry, and I.
Wait, you wouldn't charge a cleaning fee if the blood was in the room?
And he says, I can't. It's what happens in the room is none of my business.
Don't get smart with me, boy.
And he says, I don't get visitors very often. I don't think they'd care.
All right.
I said, but my tavern, people see blood down here, and it'll drive them away.
Or just make them start fighting.
Anyway, we go sleep.
Yes.
Yes. So you guys return to your rooms, rest for the night. You guys can go ahead and get in another long rest-a-roo.
Woo.
Goes away.
And cause James is not here, then he just automatically fails.
Yay!
Oh god damn it.
I don't have a token to click.
You don't need a
All
token
right.
to click to do the long rest.
True.
Click the long rest button. Think it fixes everything? I'm not sure.
I don't know. It's not gonna like automatic. I think it'll do some things, but I think you have to subtract the hit dice yourself, probably. If you
I thought I didn't.
Or
I
you
thought I
have to
didn't
add
hit
them.
where everything
You have
worked.
to add them yourself.
That's what I was wondering.
Just because the automatic resource tracking is gone.
Yep.
I still have a fucking ghost.
It lasts until your long rest. And your long rest is now.
Yeah,
Fair
you would have
enough,
lost
yes,
it
you're
after
right.
the
would've
last
lost
long
it,
rest. Yeah. All right. Yeah. So you all awake the next morning. I guess I will go onto Alexei's sheet and look at what her bonus is, and then super secretly roll it. Not tell anybody.
Oh no.
It's a secret.
Anything.
Poop.
Yeah, that's pretty much what I expected on that regard. All right. So you all return to the inn room to like meet up, or you meet up in the hallway or whatever.
Yeah.
And Alkul, you can see that though Alexei still obviously isn't like fully cured, like she still has some like deformities. You can see like it seems as though like at least her like skin is clearing up, like some of the boils are like disappearing, and so like maybe she's getting over it.
Can I make a medicine check?
I mean,
To
yeah,
determine,
but
like-
you won't really like get anything new because it's not. This isn't like a natural disease.
So I can't tell anything like why it's improving or.
No, because medicine is this is obviously something like
Magical.
supernatural. Yeah, so so Alexei, when you wake up the next morning, since you were gone, I rolled it for you.
Sweet.
And
Sick.
so basically, like you still have the basically like the downsides, but it seems like you're getting better.
Oh, sweet.
But you still are like in some pretty bad pain, and you're still like have some deformities there in that regard.
Hobblefoot.
Alright, that's not good.
But you have at least fought it off somewhat.
Excellent.
You're getting there.
Excellent.
Excellent.
All right, so you guys awake, head down to the inn room, and where would you like to go from here? You all had a long rest, so you're all tip-top shape, ready to go.
So,
Alright.
are we having a discussion or have we kind of decided?
Alexei, would you like to change your prepared spells?
Yeah,
Yes.
Please. Like,
Oh yes, thanks for reminding me. Maybe I should do something.
Let's see. Alright, okay, I think that's good. Actually, maybe I will uncheck that and get... Sure, that. There we go.
Sending.
Well, obviously I took that.
That's good. That's good. So yes, well, first we need to see if we can get in contact with Sirak. Alexei, have you been able to get the spell that you got sent by your master finished?
Indeed I have. Prepared and ready to go.
Excellent, I say. So how does it work?
And she says, well, I can send a short message of 25 words or less to someone who I'm familiar with. They'll hear it in their
25.
mind.
All right, 25 words or less. Can they
Yep.
reply or?
They can reply in kind.
Great. Send a message to Sirak and find out if he's okay and inform him of where we are.
Alright. Let's see. So, Brad, I shall send a sending spell to Surik.
All right. You cast a spell.
Yep. Surik! It's Alexei. We are in Gontalgrim. How are you? What is going on where you are? Where are you? Reply, please. There we go. That's the message. Boop.
Okay. So you do that, and after a few moments, you hear a somewhat like a groggy reply. He says, Alexei, is that really you? It's so good to hear from you. He says, I'm doing all right. I've stayed here, was worried when you disappeared. He says, Fogolos has, and then it just like cuts off. See, hit the word limit.
Yep. He's still where we left him. He hasn't left.
All right. Can he come to Gontlengrim? Do we need to go to Luskan to get him?
I didn't get that.
Can we send it again? A new message?
I mean, there's only so many times I can do it. Are you sure?
It's just like, well, we need to like get him again, like meet up with him again.
That's good to hear, Surik. Keep your reply under 25 words, please. Can you come to Gontalgrim, or do we need to come get you?
Yes, after that, you hear it's like, oh, Gontogrim. I'm not sure if that's wise. Giants might attack on the road. I think I will stay here for now. Can't afford bodyguards.
Okay. And then, like, Alexei will relay that information. It's probably too dangerous for him. He'll stay where he is.
All right, then we must head out back to Luskan. So I suppose that we have our heading. Let's just stock up on supplies if we have.
So, are we going to Luskin just to come back here with Sirik?
No, we're going to Luskan to pick up Sirak and I don't know, head to Citadel Felbar, Citadel Arbar. But like I promised Alquill. Okay, so from Alquill's perspective, Alquill promised to see him to Waterdeep. So or see him to safety at least. And Luskan is. We have thoroughly learned that Luskan is not safe. So I'm not leaving him there. Either way. If you guys would like to head to Citadel Felbar and Oddbar, that is fine. I can play Briork while Alquill goes and helps Sirak. Is essentially what will happen in that case, because Alquill, from his perspective, will go I promise to see Sirak to Waterdeep, or at least to safety. I say Luskan is not safe. as we all have experienced. So I'm going there to help him one way or the other. Says, you are free to
Have
come
to be
with.
to Waterdeep?
Hmm?
Does it have to be to Waterdeep?
It has to be the safety. He was wanted to go to Waterdeep, but perhaps we can take him somewhere else afterwards. Or at least find a way to hire other bodyguards to see him. See him to Waterdeep if he needs to go there. Or if Felagos is there, perhaps we can arrange to meet in Waterdeep. Actually, yes, Felagos. Alexei, are you able to cast more spells? That sending type.
Sorry?
Are you able to cast the message spell again?
One more time.
Can we cast the Felagos? Perhaps he can take Sirak to Waterdeep.
Who?
Felagos, the dragon. The bronze dragon, or copper dragon, whatever he was.
Oh.
He was going to.
Are you sure?
He was going to fly us to Amphail.
Oh yeah.
Alexei,
Yeah.
ask him if he's been taking care of my horse.
Oh yeah, that.
And if he goes to Waterdeep, take my horse with him.
Well, I've never spelled with a dragon before. I doubt it'd be, different. And she'll reach into her bag. It's like, what is
Yeah.
this? Pulls something out. What is it, Brad?
There is a note in there, and as you open it up, it's a rather short, but you recognize the handwriting. It just says, "Need to talk at the tower. Get back here as soon as possible." And it's just signed RT.
Trying to make us go to Waterdeep.
Oh. It looks like there's problems in Waterdeep. I may have to return home soon.
When aren't there problems in Waterdeep?
Yeah.
Alright. I think it sounds like we're going to Waterdeep after Luskin then. Unless
Alright.
the dragon can arrange something.
I was just like,
I mean,
yes.
Yeah, so Felagos can take him to
If he-
Luskin. And
Yeah,
then
if
we
Fel-
can beeline towards there.
Yeah, if Felagos could, well, if Felagos still in Luskin, he could take, Just he could take him to Waterdeep, but if we need to go to Waterdeep as well, perhaps he could take him to Gauntlegrim.
Wait, Felagos gonna take Sirik to Gauntlegrim?
Yes.
Where even is the above ground entrance of the Gauntlegrim?
At the top of a mountain.
Mm.
I mean, that's where we're going to be exiting anyway.
Alright.
Remember, Alexei, make sure he's taking care of my horse.
Very well. So what's my message gonna be to a dragon?
Alright, let's all sit down
Ugh.
think about this.
Compose
Can you
the
take
message.
Sirak,
Alright,
Sirak
Felagos.
and the horse to Gauntlegrim? Thank you,
Please take
Alexei.
Sirik and Lucas's horse to Gauntlegrim for us, please.
Is that really it?
I don't know, that's 12 words. I think that's 17 words. Wait, I think that might be 12.
We can do it in 4. Horse, Sirak, Gauntlegrim, please.
If we really need you to send another message, we'll give you the Pearl of Power and you can use it.
Yes.
But basically, tell Felagos to go into Luskin and get Sirik and my horse and take them to Waterdeep.
All right. I guess I'll just relay that message then.
The horse is important.
All right, so you send a message to Felgalos. All right, yeah. So you send the message, and then you get back a reply, and it says, "Oh, it's been some time since I've been messaged by a human." He says, "Take your friend to Gauntlgrim." He says, "I'll, I've got other things to do. Sorry."
You motherfucker!
Yeah, so that didn't work out, guys. Sorry.
All right. Going to well, guess we're going to Luskin then.
Alright.
Goddamn fucking mountain.
Is there
Are you
anything
okay there,
anyone
Lucas?
needs to do?
Fucking Seer better take care of my goddamn horse. Fucking kill him if he doesn't.
Lucas,
I want
are
to
you
try and
okay?
find a potion shop.
Oh yes, potions could be useful. Yes, that was us then. If there's anything we need to stock up on, now would be the time.
Yep.
Brad, can I peddle the jewelry assortment that I got from the giant and the gemstones for value?
Yeah, I think you could trade them for value here.
All right, that's 500 GP. Now, what do I get paid in?
Gold.
Gold. Okay.
Some nice dwarven coins.
So, Brad,
Yes.
can I find a shop that sells potions and goods?
So obviously this place isn't like, it's still rebuilding. So there's probably not like we sell all sorts of potions, but you could probably find like healing potions, or at least
Yeah.
like basic healing potions. Let
That's
me
what I'm
just
looking
see
for.
here. Let me see how many. Okay. So you find 4 potions of healing for sale. They're 50 gold each.
I'll buy,
Do we have rations?
I'll buy 2.
Oh yeah, you have your things in bag of holding, Lucas, which we have gotten back,
We did.
and we have the things on the armor. How many of that did we actually get around to selling? But that's on the wagon, but that's in Luskan.
Yeah. I'm assuming that's how Seer's been surviving, was selling the shit that we had on the fucking thing.
So that's 10 platinum, right?
It's only been like a few
Yes.
days.
Man got to eat for.
He was a big man.
Big fat ass.
I mean,
Wow.
wow.
Fucking lardo.
I have 0 rations. Okay.
Wow, that's not
Perfect.
good.
How much rations?
What is it, like 5 silver for a day or something like that?
5 silver for a day. All right. 2, 4, 5. Oh, only 6.
You're not exactly sure how many days to Luskin it'll be on foot. It depends a lot on what kind of like route you take.
The most direct route.
I mean, are you sure about that?
That's straight over the mountain.
Like
And
straight over the
like-
mountain through
it's
the
like,
woods.
like straight like this. I hope there's a footpath down.
Can we is there maybe a quicker way through the Underdark?
Oh, we'd have to ask. Is there in like if anyone? Is there's like
Maybe a dwarf who would know? They seem to
Yeah.
be quite plentiful here in this place.
Yeah, I was just like, is there like a house? Because it's like a guide's shop, but they're probably not like a guide shop store or anything. But
Guide shop store. Get your
Is
guys
there a
here.
tourist center?
A tourist center. No. Like I
I
said,
think
this city is basically like still in rebuilding efforts.
I will head. I have one friend. I've so far made 2 friends actually in the city. One of them is
2
the
friends.
captain guy, and the other guy is Helgrim. Helgrim is probably busy, the captain guy is a guard, so he might have like information about where we could go and find like someone who could show us either the way through the Underdark, or if he could explain the best footpath down from the mountain. Yeah. Alquil says like, I'm gonna go like talk to the captain that we met when we, or see if I find the captain who we met when we first arrived and ask
Don't
him.
we have a tracker in our group right now?
Oh yes, we do have Breark, but Breark's new to this place, isn't he?
Yeah, but I mean, you should be able to track like walked paths down the mountain,
True.
see where people have gone.
Breark, can you do that?
And he says, well, yeah, that would be easy. Says, I'm assuming that, I mean, there's other surfacers here. I'm assuming there's some sort of trail they must follow to get up here.
True. Perhaps you should just go to the gates, the outer gates. They would probably know more about how to get down from the mountain.
Yeah.
It's probably closer as well.
Let's move.
Yes.
Unless anyone needs to do anything else.
Nope.
All right, so you guys gather up your belongings, having sent a few messages out, and make your way to the Sky Gate, which leads out of Gauntlgrim. Yeah, you arrive there, and you can see that as you do, the gates are open, and there is some like traffic in and out. There are a number of guards just kind of like keeping watch here, and as you sort of like pass by to go through, they kind of like nod and say, "Careful on the trail down, travelers. We can't guarantee your safety."
What should we be worried about?
And he says, "Well,
Falling.
it's," I said, "falling mostly. Just watch your step."
I'm gonna die.
Thank you, good sir.
And he says, "And keep an eye out for Sangzor."
What?
For what?
And he says, "The beast of the mountains. He's known to."
Why was that second before falling?
And he says, "Well, he doesn't always show up. It's a bit of a rare thing, but we've heard the stories."
Oh well,
I have
if
a
you
strange feeling he's gonna show up.
you just cursed us. You just jinxed it.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Ignorance is bliss, you know.
Yeah,
All right,
and he says,
thanks.
and watch out, it's a bit stormy out there right now. Visibility's low.
All right.
Yeah.
We're gonna fucking die.
Yeah.
Well, we're in the market. I will have
Hey.
both rations for 20 days for myself.
What's the beast? What is the beast of a mountain? You say beast, but what type of beast?
And I say,
Like a cat, a big cat, a big
I
bird.
said, well, it depends who you ask. The tales say that he is as large as a giant, with 3 wicked curved horns, and the bleating noise that he makes echoes throughout the whole mountain and causes an avalanche. I say, some say he's a devil in disguise. Others say
Alright,
he's
thanks.
just simply a mountain goat. He gets lucky.
Let's hope for the goat. Let's go.
So you head out and basically, yeah, so the gate opens and then there's like a cave formation, like a natural cave that you have to walk through for maybe about like 10-15 minutes. There's like a trail with a few like torches that go through this cave. And then eventually you come out in the mouth and you can see you are definitely like immediately just freezing cold as you're here like shivering on top of this mountain.
Cold.
I put
And,
on my cold weather gear.
Mhm.
Yep, same.
So yeah, you
Oh yeah, I have that. put
yes you do.
down.
I mean, you were
Yes,
in
same.
the Icewind Dale, so
Yep, I put on the extreme winter gear.
yeah, you put on your clothes. And yes, like he said, you could see there is essentially like this sort of blizzard raging outside, snow sort of being blown sideways by the winds, which like whip at your faces and kind of like sting your skin. But you begin to make your way. There's like obviously there's a clearly delineated like trail that people sort of head up and down. Obviously, there are a number of like stone kind of like cairns or markers that kind of mark the way. And yeah, you begin making your way down this trail. It's sort of like, it's very switchbacky, so it'll go like one way, curve back, and descend down, like back upon itself. And at some points, it actually like cuts through the mountain. Like there's been caves tunneled, and it like cuts through the mountain. And it's quite the ways. And at one point, there is essentially like a chasm that leads that cuts through the trail, and there's like an ancient stone bridge that's been like constructed across it. And as you're sort of like look, you can see there is like a sort of sheer cliff to one side, and as you look down, you can see it plummets maybe about like 100 feet or so down to like a another landing in the mountain. And yeah, you guys are crossing the bridge. Can all of you make a perception check for me? You have disadvantage due to the heavy obscurement of the storm.
So we have disadvantage.
Yes.
There we go.
Well, guess who doesn't see jack shit?
Oh wow.
Better than I thought I would.
All things considered, not too bad. Where you take into account the disadvantages like a -5.
Okay, let's see here. 10, 14, 7, 10. Nice. Henceforth is thine stealth modifier. Thank you.
Whose?
Nothing.
Mine is
Oh, the monster. I see.
I know what you're talking about.
Bomb beast.
I cast locate snow monster.
I like that spell.
Yep.
All right, how many are you?
Oh,
Oh,
right.
there's 4 of you. All right.
Yes.
Okay. Lucas, Alquil, Nibby, Alexei.
Oh, is this like that Curse of Strahd bridge encounter?
I don't know what you're talking about.
Ah, yes, the Black Knight.
Yeah, we continue forward in the store, but suddenly it's like none shall pass. this outside, this Black Knight outside, like human Black Knight, has just like take the breastplates here and been like, fuck you. Oh shit, there's Cos.
So, unfortunately for all of you, none of you actually exceeded this stealth check,
Of course.
which I of course rolled a natural 20 on. So here's what happens. You guys are kind of beginning to, you look over the bridge and see it's kind of like icy surface, and you guys are beginning to figure out like how basically like going across it, and suddenly we see like the camera like pans into the storm, and we just see these 2 sort of like glowing orange eyes with like weird hourglass pupils, and you all hear this sort of like horrific kind of like bleating noise echoing around the mountain, although you can't quite tell from where. And then you hear the sound of like hooves hitting like hard stone, and coming from out of the blizzard, out of the snow, is this just massive goat, and
Just this haunting, bleating
just
noise.
this horrible, horrific, massive goat. And as it emerges, Nibby, its head is reared down, and it is charging directly at you.
Ooh. Sorry, guys, we're good. It's going for the gnome.
No, Nibby, no.
No, Nibby, no.
Racist goat.
So it was an unseen attacker, so it's going to attack you from out of the mist. It has a +5. Please fail. Oh, yeah.
Super miss.
So you like see it, and it misses.
It was off the edge.
No.
Combat roll out of the way.
And like stops there. Now, yeah, you all see just this absolutely normal ass fucking giant goat just like charging out of the blizzard towards Nibby, and like it whips its head up, and Nibby just sort of like ducks at the last minute, the horn like barely missing his head, and yeah, I mean, what do you guys do? I don't think we necessarily really have to roll initiative here.
How big are we talking about?
So it is a like large sized creature. So it's like a 10-foot tall goat.
I scream in fear.
God damn it. I cast.
Just
I cast.
subdue it. And
I
leave.
summon my longbow.
I just like halt, and I cast speak with animals.
Oh.
Like I'll and
Does Alquill start bowing?
it's like
Important
let me handle
question.
this. I say, and then I like look at the goat, and it's just like I speak, and I say it's just like we are not your enemies.
Yeah. So you just like look at
Go
the goat, and and yeah, you just see these like horrific looking like goat hourglass pupil eyes like look back at you, and then you all hear it go like Alquill. You hear like, "Who dares trespass on the realm of Sangzor, Emperor of the Mountain?"
Oh, they got a
Please,
name wrong.
please stop doing that goat voice.
No.
And I say it's just like, oh, it's just like, I am Alquil Redmoon, and these are my friends. It's just, we were not aware it was your realm, mighty emperor.
Okay, is he saying this in goat?
Yes,
Got a
course.
longbow out,
yes, I'm saying this in goat.
got an arrow ready to be knocked. I'm like, maybe you wanna?
Should-
Yeah. So
No.
and he says I guess he says no, you now look upon Sangzor in all his majesty. Why should I permit you trespassers to live?
It's just like, we are merely passing through, and we are not. We seek no harm. It says, perhaps a offering of a tribute. I say as I get up a ration pack.
Ration. Oh my god.
Yeah,
Oh,
you see that he kind of like
you
looks,
seek-
and he says, "Yes, a mighty tribute. What have you to offer, pathetic creatures?"
Just give him a tin can.
It says it's like, but I have I have food, and like I get out the ration pack, show him.
Now he sort of like looks at
All
it, and he
25.
says, "That puny morsel."
So it's just like, and it's just like, well, I have more. I say.
It is a very, very big goat.
It's just like, yeah. So I'll get out like 5 rations total.
All right, yeah. So you do that,
Just gonna insult this thing.
and it looks down. You like spread out these like food, and the goat kind of like steps forward a bit, like sniffing at it. You all just basically you see like Alquill and this goat kind of like bleeding at each other, and then it like he pulls out a bunch of food, and the goat like starts stepping forward, and yeah, he like bites down into some of it, chewing a bit in that like weird kind of like sideways jaw motion, and then kind of like there's this like loud like bleeding noise, and he says, "Very well, mortal. Your tribute is accepted. You may pass through Sangzor's realm."
Thank you. And I get up and like say, all right, let's go, to everyone else in common.
Okay.
You all just see this goat just begin eating the food that Alquil left there.
Goats.
I says like, well, well.
All right. Yeah,
What?
so-
Want to explain what just happened there?
It's just like
You
I
start
cast,
bleeding at it.
I cast a spell to speak with it.
And he wanted food.
He wanted a tribute. He proclaimed himself the Emperor of the Mountain.
Is he?
I don't know. it's, just,
It's either that or we kill him.
it's just like, yeah, and I figured it was not worth it. So I gave him some food, and we now go our separate ways.
All right. Fair enough. Let's go.
All right, so
These
yeah, you
adventures
guys
we have are always so confusing.
begin to make your way as you're sort of like walking. Alexei, you kind of like look back and you just see sort of Sangzor's goat eyes like staring at you intently. But then it goes back to eating. And eventually
Dude, that
he
girl wants to fuck you.
he very quickly disappears into the blizzard as you cross over the bridge. And begin making your way down the rest of the mountain. The trail is about it's a few miles hike down the mountain, and it's slow going due to the storm and kind of the rocky conditions. So it takes you about like a couple of hours to reach the before you reach the base of the mountain, and eventually like you do escape from the blizzard at the top of the mountain, and now it's just sort of like wind and rain further down below. But you arrive at the foot of Gauntlegrim. Now you can see there is there is what appears to be like a small little like way house of some sort. It doesn't seem to be like manned in any way, but there's basically like some place to like shelter in for travelers looking to head up the mountain. Just like a simple like basically like shack or whatever. And there is actually like a group of people who is currently there, dressed in kind of like basically like mountain expedition clothes with these like large backpacks, who look like they're probably about to like head up the trail themselves.
Ah. Well, I hailed them.
Yeah, and you do that, and they say, hello there, travelers, coming down from Gauntlegrim, are we? And he says, how's the trail look?
He says, misty, foggy, hard to see. Beware the mountain goat. It craves food.
And they kind of like look at each other, and they sort of like exchange glances. The mountain goat. He says, "What is he talking about?" He says, maybe we should just wait a little bit longer. I mean, this storm is awful." He says, "Yes, but the more we wait, the more money we lose." And like they begin arguing amongst each other, and they say, and then the one turns back to you. He's like, "Thank you for the information, traveler." Says, "Tell me, where are you headed?"
Luskan and then Waterdeep.
They sort of like a nod. I said, says, wish you luck in your travels. That is quite the journey you make.
Thank you. Luck be with you as well.
Yep.
Were they dwarves or?
No, they seem to be just sort of like a mix of like mostly human. But there's a few like it looks like half elves with them.
I see.
Yeah. So I suppose it's kind of so there's basically like you can take the obviously there's a few ways to get lost, and like the most direct route is just cut through the forest to get there.
Yeah.
Or you can kind of like skirt around the forest. You'll have to ford over the river, and then meet up back again with the road to go there. Probably the safest way is to go all the way over to like the long road and then just like take the roads all the way there.
Hey, Orc.
Yeah, what is it?
How comfortable are you trekking through the woods towards Lusk?
He says, well, says, to be honest, I couldn't really tell the forest from the trees.
Well, I've trekked through forest paths before.
Oh.
Yes.
So forest path it is.
Yes, and also we're down from the mountain now, right?
Yeah.
Or are we? Yeah. So give me about 10 minutes, I say.
Okay.
I cast Find Steed. Start casting Find Steed.
All right. So yeah, you sit down and begin to cast your spell.
Yes.
to call forth the mighty
Windstrider.
Windstrider. Yeah, so you do that, and eventually you guys see like there's like a breeze that kind of like blows in, and you all hear this kind of like I can't really like mimic the sound of like a deer call or whatever, but you basically like see this resplendent elk sort of emerging from the forest, and Alco, you kind of like hear the voice in your mind. It says he says, "You've need of my services again, Alquil."
He says, yes, Mighty Windstrider says, we need to return to Luskan. We got sent off track, but we need to travel through the forest. I guess through the forest behind them. And says, and take path to get to the path to Luskan. Says,
Yeah, so the elk like strides up and kind of like nods and just says, "Very well. It will be a dangerous journey, but I will see you through to the end."
all right. Thank you very much for that. Say. All right. And I have a steed now. We have an elk with us. So, all right, let's start heading into the forest then. The woods.
Yes.
All right, so you guys begin to head through the forest, making your way to Luskin. Let me see here. It's going to be 83 miles, give or take. Okay, so that's how many days. All right, so you begin to make your way into the forest. Could you go ahead and whoever's leading the party give me a survival check here?
Can I help him? Or who? I suppose I can do it. I have good survival.
Yeah, you.
I'll lead.
Yeah, you. I think you're better survival than me, but I can help.
All right. Advantage.
All right. Yeah. So you have no problem at all beginning to make your way through these thick wooded area at the base of this mountain. It is pretty like obvious to you, like as you're traveling through here, that a lot of the growth here appears to be relatively like new in terms of like the world age. You as a druid are more like in tune with this, perhaps. And it seems as though this forest is brimming with life as you're kind of traveling. Actually, like maybe even some of like the smaller creatures, like the birds and the squirrels and rabbits and whatnot, like sort of guide you on your way almost as you're making your way through the forest quite easily. And yeah, you guys spend the entirety of the first day and make your way through the forest. And let me see here. Yeah, nothing strange or out of the ordinary occurs. You're just sort of like, occasionally, like you see some like wild animals up ahead. There's like a herd of elk like bounding through the forest ahead of your trail, and just just general sights and sounds of the forest. And then eventually you make it to the end of the day. You are not able to find like a very like clear area to camp in deep in the woods like this, but Nibby's like kind of familiar with creating sort of like forest encampments and can kind of like guide you in creating shelter here amidst the woods.
All right.
3 hammocks for everyone.
3 hammocks for everyone.
3 hammocks. All right, so that is that. You guys go ahead and take a short rest if you want, since we're now traveling again.
Yes. Travel.
Well, I guess they get a 3rd level spell back at least.
Yeah.
What is it that gives you a 3rd level spell back?
Arcane recovery.
Oh.
All right. Yeah, so you guys take this short rest, wake up in the morning, And yes, you begin traveling again. Go ahead and give me another survival check for the next day.
Oh dear. Oh!
Nice.
First one's 19, this one's 20.
Good shit. Yeah, so Nibby, this day you actually make quite good progress. You manage to find kind of like basically like the optimal path, as it were, through the forest. And in fact, because your roll is so good, you actually basically like have no chance of not noticing that during your travel during the second day, just after noon, you you kind of enter into a more like you were still in the mountains, so it was pretty hilly, and now you're entering more into just like flatland forest. But there's actually a point, Nibby, where you're still kind of like up along the mountainside, and you can kind of see down into the forest up ahead, and you notice that in the forest up ahead there is a like large clearing, and I think given your like your role there and like your massive perception, you notice that this clearing isn't natural. It was burned out. There is evidence of like fire damage at the outskirts of it, and I think you can kind of see some sort of like towering wooden structure that has been constructed in the middle of it. And that's all you can make out from like a distance. But you think you could probably get like closer to examine it without actually like being seen by whatever the hell is there.
So, okay, I get the feeling that there is something there currently.
Yeah, there is something there. There's obvious like signs of like activity, but you can't quite make it. You're too far away to like make out what it is. But there's some sort of structure that's been built, and like obvious like fire damage.
Yeah. So I'll say, okay, this entire place seems to have been burned out, and I have a strong feeling that whatever did it is in that little structure there. Lucas, would you mind sneaking up with me and having a closer look?
Sure.
And see, what's my thing?
I have advantage.
+4. I will turn into a spider.
Of the giant kind.
Yeah, I'll go the giant kind. For they have +7 stealth.
Right.
And they have like dark vision 60 feet and blind sight. And
I'm assuming even though this place is like burned out, there are places where I can kind of like hide.
Yeah, there's like wooden like burnt out stumps and stuff, charcoal
Awesome.
sitting around.
12 stealth.
Okay. So you guys, the two of you make your way up as the rest of the group kind of hangs back. And you go. It's not super close. Like it's about like 200, 300 feet before you like get to the outskirts of where this like burned out area is. And as you kind of like sneak up, hiding amidst some of the burnt out foliage at the edges, you can see now a bit more clearly that this large clearing has obviously been like burnt out, and in the center of it there's a massive like pit that has been dug into the ground, and there's like a pile of dirt to one side of it. You see what appears to be a large number of goblins, hobgoblins, and ogres busily working on some sort of device. It's like a wooden tower that has an arm sticking out from it with a rope hanging down, and they're like reeling it in and the rope is kind of like retracting on itself. Obviously, like we as people would know, like this is a rudimentary like crane, but I'm not sure if the two of you kind of recognize it for what it is. And they seem to be struggling to pull this out. It seems like the ogres are the ones like operating this, and the hobgoblins are like yelling at them. And you can see goblins scattered around with what looks like picks and shovels, kind of like hitting at the wall. And then on the other side, you see a large kind of like tent has been set up, like a massive fucking tent. And standing outside of it, you see a dark-skinned, sort of like flame red-haired giant wearing like black plate mail armor and holding this sort of like greenish metal like rod. And he is also just like shouting at all of these like individuals here. They
Alright,
seem to
so
be
I'm assuming
digging
we
for
haven't been
something.
seen.
No, you haven't been. They haven't seen you, obviously. They seem to be too focused on like their excavation efforts.
So, Nivy, you want to bet that those are the fire giants?
You're in your head. Yeah, I'm pretty damn sure. Question is, what are they doing here?
I don't know. I don't really know what that is that they have there.
No, is this something we need to worry about? Can we just move along?
I don't know. Let's head back and see if maybe Alexei knows what it is they're doing over here. If we describe it to her.
Sure. Well, walk back.
All right, you
Sneak
make your way back to the rest of the group. The two of you see the giant spider and Lucas come back, returning to the group where they're hiding far away.
Okay.
I'll on the spider when I get there.
All right, and Nibby shifts back. Brick
So, there's giants.
A giant, ogres, goblins, and hobgoblins, and they are all working some kind of device in the ground.
Excavating.
Yes.
Yeah, I'd say Nibby, because your perception's pretty high, you would have been able to get a pretty accurate count. There was about 4 ogres, 10 hobgoblins, and about 30 goblins.
There was this amount of things down there.
That's quite a lot of things.
Yes, it is.
There might have been more of the fire giants. I'm assuming they're fire giants. You know, the red hair and whatnot.
Yeah.
In the tent, we just didn't. We didn't really get close enough to go to get closer to the tent. Seemed like the smart move.
Yes.
But describing what we saw to Alexa, do you know what any of that is?
Brad?
Make an intelligence check. Yeah, I mean you have no clue. Like you're not an expert by any means of mining or excavation, so shrug.
Shrug.
What about you?
Sorry,
Why
I'm
do
not
you use
sure.
saving throw though? I suppose it's the same stats, maybe. I don't know.
Well, then it's still not 1, so.
Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't really matter. It would just be -3.
What about our dwarf guide? Does he know anything if we describe it to him?
So he sort of like thinks for a moment. And he says like, well, it's obvious there was some sort of excavation effort. Not really sure what they're after though. And he says, if they were after some sort of valuable minerals, they'd be digging in the hills, not on the flat lands in the middle of a forest.
Yeah.
So are we all good to, ignore them and just search around, or do you think we should figure out what they're doing?
I feel like we should figure out what they're doing.
There's a lot of them though.
Give me some time. I might be able to get in there more.
Sounds good.
Do you want to go with me, Nibby?
Think you'd be better off without me on this one. I'm not as proficient as you are in being
All right,
side quiet.
guys. If you don't see me within an hour, I've been captured and probably killed.
All right.
What?
Carry
No.
All right.
Yeah, I do have it. All right. I'm gonna cast invisibility.
Oh.
All right. Yeah, so Lucas just
and I'm gonna
vanishes.
sneak back up.
All right, yeah, you walk back up towards the campsite. I assume you like basically whisper like "I'll be right back" kind of thing.
Yeah, as I said, hour.
Yeah.
This is basically because this is how long this spell will last.
Yeah, and so you want to just make your way like right up to the dig site.
Yeah, I'm gonna give it a little bit more of a look around, like trying to make sure I don't get
Okay.
in anyone's way. I don't know how much I'll get from the dig site itself.
Yeah, so as you like go to look around, since you're invisible, these creatures have like no way, obviously like no way of like discerning you're there.
Yeah,
So you kind
I'm
of
assuming it's pretty loud.
have the run of the place, and yeah, there's a lot of screaming. I'm not sure. You don't speak Goblin, I have to imagine. So you're not
yeah,
really
good
you're
point.
not really sure what they're shouting. But
Yeah.
as you as you get closer, you can see immediately as you get like a little bit closer to the site, you notice that the goblins seem to be rather like sluggish. A lot of them are like sweating pretty heavily. They look ragged. They're covered in dirt. It seems like they've been having a very bad time. The ogres are currently kind of like pulling on this like rope and pulley system, and the hobgoblins are just standing there shouting at them, as is the fire giant on the other side. And as you look over into the pit, you can see there's like this 50-foot wide, 30-foot deep crater that has been dug into the ground. Lying at the bottom of it with a number of like ropes kind of like strung around it and attached is what looks like a massive hunk of like green metal. We're talking probably at least 5 or 6 feet long, and it's kind of jagged. It looks as though it's been like broken off of something larger. And currently the ogres are kind of like working in concert, trying to like lift this thing up, while the goblins are like shouting at them. The hobgoblins are shouting at them.
Know what it is?
So I think you would recognize at least the metal. It appears to be adamantium.
A very, very large chunk of it.
A massive chunk of it.
I'm sure. My eye, I'm sure. Arvea notices.
Yes. You very quickly run the market calculations for adamantium. Like try to like calculate the size of this thing and think like, what could I get for this?
So I know that there was always this ritual to send shit to my patron. Because I used it like once at the very, very beginning of this campaign.
Yeah. You're
Would it
supposed to
work
be
on
doing
that?
it more.
Or would that just be
It might.
ungodly big
It
for it?
might. You've never tried it on something that big.
How long is the ritual?
It's pretty long. It's several.
Okay,
Like it's a process.
several hours. Cool. So I see what they're digging for now, at least. Unless there's something else below that, and that just happened to be. Let's check. Can I like reasonably get over to the other side to the tent?
Yeah, I mean, like you're invisible, so
Yeah.
as long as you
So-
don't bump into somebody, like they're not gonna notice you. Yeah, so you
Fair
like
enough.
walk over to the other side of the tent, and you can see the fire giant like standing outside with this like massive kind of like green rod in his hand, like pointing and beckoning and just like shouting. I think he's actually like shouting in giant. Do you speak giant, right?
Nope. I see
No,
what
you
you're
don't. So yeah, you don't understand what he's shouting either. But you can see that the rod is made of the same material that the fragment down below is made of.
Ah. Is like the tent open?
Well, I mean, not really. Like, there's a flap that's basically like closed right now, so it wouldn't be hard to like go inside. And the giant seems to be
Yeah.
mostly preoccupied with shouting and doesn't really seem to be looking at the tent.
I guess like there's nothing I can really do to see if there's anyone else in there. Like I can't listen in.
No, not really.
I'll try to like just very smallly move the tent flap, see if I can peer inside.
Okay. Go ahead and make a perception check.
Turn off advantage.
Like I said, this is like a massive tent, so you're like basically like imagine yourself like peeling back like a 15 to 20 foot tall like tent flap to look inside.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you can't quite make it out what's inside. But I mean, you do make out that everything inside is massive. There's like just like massive furniture in there. And that, in fact, that's probably why you can't really like see anything, because it's all up so high. You can't see what's in there.
I had my pearl of power.
we all need a pearl of power.
I just very
We do.
slowly try to dip inside. I'm hoping like the tent flap's so large it won't even notice me sliding through the gap in it.
Yeah, so you like carefully like shift it inside. And yeah, once you like step inside, you can see that basically there's some sort of like massive table that has been set up. It's about like 10 to 15 foot tall in the center of the room, and there are a number of like what looks like sleeping accommodations, like rudimentary sleeping accommodations, and some like large like crates and barrels that have been stacked up, obviously like foodstuffs and all that kind of stuff. And now that you're inside, you can see there are 2 more fire giants standing at the table, like pointing and beckoning at it, and they seem to be like arguing about something.
Man, I wish I could speak giant.
You could theoretically like climb up onto the table if you wanted to, I suppose.
I mean, I would have to make a check though, wouldn't I?
Possibly.
That's a yes.
There's nothing like on my level, is there?
No, because you're on the floor and all these guys are like so tall. They're like, why would they put anything down here?
Fair enough.
Hospitality.
So yeah, let's try to climb up onto the table.
All right.
Wait. Okay, well, I'm not there. Can you read giant then? Because what's
Nope.
point
I'm
otherwise?
just hoping maybe there's something I can see up there.
Yeah. So go ahead and make an athletics check. Let's see. It's not a particularly
Okay.
difficult because it's like a wooden surface and there's plenty of
Yeah, but I'm
handholds.
shit at this. Nat 20!
All right, so you quite easily climb your way up the legs of the table and onto the top, and you can see that on the table there is what appears to be a map of some kind, it's kind of sprawled out along the table. It is crude, it's rudimentary, but you immediately recognize it as like a map of like the north, essentially. Although like only like the big major cities have been like marked on it. And looking over the map, you can't read. There's notes annotated on it, but you can't read any of them, and you can't hear what the fire giants are saying. But like one of them like points at a location on the map, and the other giant like shakes his head and points somewhere else. And you can see there are a number of what appear to be like figurines or something that have been laid out across the map, and like just a brief glance at them, they seem almost kind of they almost look like a metal giant of some sort, and there are a number of them that have been like spread out, and you can see one of them is currently like placed quite close to where you are and has been like circled, and then there are like several more kind of like spread around, with like notes next to each of them.
I know I can't read giant script. Can I like copy it?
Yeah, I mean, if you wanted to, unfortunately,
I'm assuming
like
would pulling things out of my bag be visible.
no, so like all your possessions are invisible, which means if you took paper and pencil out of your bag, you couldn't see them. They're invisible.
Well, I couldn't see them either.
No.
Yeah, good point.
You could try to like memorize it and hope that you can like recall what it looks like later.
I'll specifically like try to memorize the ones that look like next to the red circled one that's close to us.
Okay.
Is there anything else up here on this table?
No, it seems to be mostly taken up by this like map. There's probably like a tankard of some sort next to each of the giants.
So it just seems like a command tent kind of deal.
Yeah, it just seems to be like a very simple kind of like, and you're looking at almost like, it almost looks sort of like a battle map almost, but they've got these like weird figurines and they've kind of like circled and annotated a few things.
Mm-hmm.
What do you have?
Not much.
So at this point, it's probably been about 20 minutes.
Yeah, I'll get down if there's nothing else really in here to explore. Do my best to remember what I want to remember. Then I'll slip back outside of the tent.
All right, yeah. So you slip back outside. You can see there now the fragment is kind of like being lifted out of the pit, and you can see a number of like the hobgoblins and goblins have like thrown ropes over and are trying to like drag it over to the side of the pit.
Go lick it.
I think you should lick it
So
as
they
well.
pulled out the whole thing?
Yeah, it's like one massive chunk that they've like lifted out.
How heavy do you suggest it is?
Make an intelligence check.
Check.
Estimation.
Yeah, just
check.
a flat check. I don't think. Yeah. So obviously you're not exactly trained in like weights and
Calculations.
densities and calculations of metal. It just looks really fucking heavy, just on the size of it.
I probably couldn't carry it with my mask of carry more.
Oh fuck no. Especially because you know adamantine tends to be a denser metal than steel, so it's probably even heavier than you would think.
Alright, now finally, what is this tent made out of, material-wise?
It's like a canvas kind of material.
And canvas can catch fire.
A canvas bag.
Do I want to set this tent on fire? No, I don't. I'll make my way back to my friends.
You want to set the fire giant's tent on fire?
Yeah. It's more idea to just like burn their map down, but nah. I'll head back to my friends.
Right. Yeah, you head back to your friends. I assume you basically like boop, pop back.
Yep.
Visible.
It's like, so guys, I didn't go. I just stayed here the whole time and listen to you guys badmouth me. I see how it is.
Yeah. What were the lot of you up to while you were waiting for Lucas to return?
Bad mouthing Lucas.
I was keeping an eye out for to make sure that no one was like coming towards us.
I was picking mushrooms. and not the sustenance kind.
Ah, yes, the poison
Good
kind.
man.
All right. Yeah. So you guys
I'll explain to them everything that I saw, and I'll specifically to Alco because he's the only one I know who speaks giant.
All
Off
right.
the top of my head, at least. I'll try to
I
like.
speak giant.
Don't know that.
I'm pretty sure you do.
I might. I just didn't remember. But I'll.
sure you're the
As
only
soon
one
as I get
right
back, as
now
I'm
that doesn't.
explaining, I'm also pulling out a piece of paper and writing down these
Yeah. So go ahead and make a
intelligence check.
yeah, an intelligence check. I'm trying to see if there would even be something like
A bonus.
No, I'm trying to think if there would be a better skill like for it, but I don't think there is. I think it's just a flat intelligence check.
Wow, I'm good at these 9.
Yeah, so you like very quickly like draw out what you think they looked like.
You wrote
And
poop.
Lucas isn't exactly like a great artist. So it kind of comes out basically like illegible. And none of you can actually like tell what it was supposed to say, if anything.
Okay. Fuck.
What language did you say this was, Lucas?
I think giant. I'm not sure.
Okay, well, what you wrote is not giant.
I have another idea. Alquill, take off your plate.
What?
I'm gonna make you invisible. You can go up there and listen to
I don't
them and
think-
figure out what's going on.
I don't think that's the time for this. I mean,
It's just like I'm not that sneaky, but
It's
I can read. I'm
hectic
sneakier.
down there. I
Make
didn't
me
have to sneak at
invisible.
all with how loud it is down there.
Make me invisible then. I'll go.
That's probably
Big
faster.
giant.
Yes.
Oh. I poke him and turn him invisible.
All right, yeah. So Nibby just whoop, disappears.
No, there's a lot of adamantium down there.
Yeah, I'll make my way to the to the tent.
All right, yeah. So you emerge and you can see it now. They've like basically like finished to drag. By the time you get back there, you can see they finished like dragging the fragment over. And as you get like closer, you can see the fire giant has like moved over to like look at it. Is kind of like examining it, and just kind of like shouting basically like at the goblins, but he's speaking in goblin to like command them. So you can't quite make out what he's saying. But then you sneak over to the tent, and yeah, you can see the same thing, like tent flap. Pretty easy to like sneak inside if you'd like. I assume you do.
Yep.
Right. Yeah. So you sneak inside, and you can see two fire giants standing at the table, and they're having a conversation, and you like begin to hear like bits and pieces of it. I think when you enter, like one of them's like finishing off a sentence, and basically saying like, "Foolish, we should return to Duke Salto," and the other one's just like, "Nonsense! There's more of these fragments out there. We should find as much as we can to impress him." And they just seem to be like in a heated argument.
Okay. What is the wording of invisibility? Is it only when you attack, or?
So if you attack or cast a spell, so you can do anything that's not attacking or casting a spell.
Is wild shape a spell?
No.
Alright, I'll turn into a small spider, just so that I don't have to make a check to climb the table, because spiders have a climb
Climb
speed.
speed.
Yep. You can do that.
And I'll climb up on the table, and I'll look at what they've written and on the map.
All right, so you climb up onto the table, looking over, and yeah, you can see there is a map, and there is a number of things written in giant upon it, and these like metal like statues. And as you look over, I guess you probably like looking at the one closest to you first. It says what does it say exactly? It says confirmed fragment located, high priority recovery. And then there's some other ones that have like it's almost like it's a marker there, and then it's almost like a question. Where one of them there's a marker and it says possible fragment of the Vanendad, investigate.
What was it? The Vanendad?
Yeah. Let me see here. I'll write it
How's it
out for
spelled?
you. How is it spelled? I need to remember.
See him clouded in
Rah!
and
Ah.
Yes, that's the giant.
Vanendad. Okay.
Yeah.
Does that ring a bell for me?
No.
Okay.
You have no idea what that is. But yeah, there's basically like all these markers that are. Some of them say like fragment confirmed. Some of them say fragment recovered. Some of them say need further investigation. And they're like spread out all over this map. Some of them say high priority. Some are low priority. Some say potential danger with the small folk. Others are like isolated, easy to acquire. Basically, it's just like a map with all these notes of locations of fragments of the Vanendad, whatever the hell that is.
Okay.
And I think as you're kind of like looking over the table, these giants, they seem to be getting like more heated in their arguments. And can you make a dexterity saving throw for me as one of the giants like slams his hand down on the table? Basically like right where you're kind of like at.
I have more dex. Because it's mine. No, wait. Saving throw. Yeah, so it's -1 to this, because spiders have 3. Oh, shit. Oh, well, it's same roll.
Okay. Yeah, so he like you see it like coming down because it's almost like because it's such a big object, it looks like it's moving in slow motion, and you quickly like scurry out of the way as it slams down on the table, shaking everything and like kind of knocking over some of the pieces. And the other giant's just like, "What are you doing? We should get back to Duke Salto." I said, "We're wasting time here."
Duke
Have they-
Salto.
Have they recovered the fragment yet? And you can see the fire giants like begin to like look outside and look as though they're going to be like leaving to check on what's going on.
Okay. Is it Salto with a Z or a C? Or S? Or Zalto. Okay. Is there any? Do I see anything else? Can I make a perception check to see if there's anything else of value, readable, or?
No, it seems like pretty barren in here. Just like
Is there any
bare
iconography, like or like crests or anything? Is there a clan tag, anything like that?
No, not really.
I'll follow them out then, and I'll see where they're. I want to see where they're bringing this piece of adamant in. If there's a storage for it, or if like they're putting it on the cart.
They seem to be attaching like ropes to it, and kind of like harnesses to the ogres.
Okay.
It
Do I
seems
see
it seems they
anywhere-
are intent on dragging it all the way back to wherever the hell they're going.
Oh, okay. So there's no storage anywhere around here.
No.
I want to go. I'm assuming there's a hole like vertically down the hole, down in the ground, or.
Yeah, so it's like a 50-foot wide, 30-foot deep pit that has been like excavated.
All right. I want to just go to the edge and just like have a look down and see what I see.
I mean, you just see a big empty pit now.
Oh, okay. Oh, so it's not like into the earth. It's like just a hole, a crater, basically.
Yeah, it's basically like they dug out this pit to get the thing inside and then lifted the thing out, and now it's just an empty pit.
All right, I'll go back.
All right, you return to the others. And
Welcome back.
What did you find out?
Well, they're looking for some charge of some sort for something or someone called Vonindad. Does that ring a bell for anyone?
Vonindad.
Brad.
no, not a chance.
And I believe their leader or whoever they're trying to do this for is called Duke Salto.
Duke Salto.
Brad.
No
Again,
chance.
Shut
no.
up, Jace.
I will say though, those of you that I guess, those of you who speak giant, like Vonindad is basically like a term that like loosely translates in common to Titan of Death.
All right. So I guess I would know Batman at least since I know Giant.
I mean, yeah, all of you would because you know giant. So obviously it's not a very nice sounding thing.
And
I don't know,
the
it sounds
map,
pretty nice to me.
like they had tons of locations on the map where they would be finding these charts.
Oh, well, that sounds like something we would want to get our hands on.
Yeah,
The map.
I
Yes.
was currently a very tiny spider, and I didn't see.
It's a very big map.
Yeah,
It's
I
huge.
don't even think I could carry it in my own form.
We could have it in the bag.
Oh yeah.
Could
can
I
I
put
make-
that map in my
actually-
bag, Brad?
It would be very difficult to get it small enough to fit into the opening of the bag because you would have to like curl it up really tightly.
That's what I was thinking as well.
Yeah. Because
Can I make
the
some
bag
check-
doesn't just like infinitely open. You still have to be able to fit it into
No,
the
I
opening of the
understand.
bag.
That's what I
Yeah.
was thinking. But would it be possible?
It would be possible. It would just be very difficult, and it would probably strain the limits of the bag's capacity.
Can I make some check to repaint or recreate at least the locations, or remember which locations have been marked? If I know any of the names and stuff.
Yeah, if we have a map, we could maybe mark the locations more.
Yeah.
Yeah. You can go ahead and try to make an intelligence check.
At least if we can like see the map, like maybe we can steal it and.
Ooh, sweet.
Okay. So let's say you can get a few of them. There were a lot. So obviously there is one. Let me see here. I'll draw this on the map layer, I guess. So there's one here, obviously, where you are. There's another one here that you remember. One here. Some here. Here. Like, they're all over the place, so I'm not going to draw all of them, but yeah, basically they seem to be kind of like spread.
They also seem to be avoiding small folk. They were discussing where some of these places were a risk to encounter small folk and such, where it would be easier or harder to acquire these shards. And yeah, it seems they are using the ogres to just pull this piece away to I don't know where. I assumed I didn't have enough time on your spell to find out.
There's more than that, but I'm not gonna draw literally all of them. There are like hundreds.
I demand you draw literally all of them.
Just send me the map and I'll draw them.
No, there is no map.
No map.
But like you go over the ones, and those are all the ones that are basically like these are the confirmed ones. There were more that were like plausible or like high risk or whatever. But these are the ones that like they know about or have already been recovered.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, okay. Should we do anything else with this camp, or should we just leave it?
I think they're done here. I got the feeling that they this is the shard that they had discovered here.
Yeah, the Mantine thing.
Yeah. If that is the shard that they're talking about, I couldn't really tell.
I mean, I'd assume the giant adamantite piece is what they were talking about.
Yeah, but why would they refer to them as shards?
Well, shards. I would suggest it's part of something bigger.
Not necessarily.
The only thing I can imagine us doing would be stopping them from going with it, but I don't think we're going to do that.
Do we feel this is something we need to pursue, or should we? I mean, are we literally just going to follow these giants? Because don't know where they're going. We
Need to find out, though, don't we?
Why? Why does this take precedence over what we were doing now?
I suppose.
Not like we could split up.
That's a terrible idea.
Yeah, that's no.
All right, you guys go to the south end of the map, and we'll go to the north end of the map.
And Brad ran 2 campaigns now.
You're fucked.
And both of them TPK. Ah, really unfortunate.
Yes. No, alright, well, killing them, like taking the shard, defeating them, I'm not sure if that really makes a difference. It's just...
There are... How many giants were there? 3?
There were 3
So-
fire giants, a number of ogres, hobgoblins, and goblins.
Yeah, we don't... I mean, unless we can miraculously isolate each of them, I don't think we can take this camp at all. There's 3 fire giants and a bunch of auxiliary troops.
Yeah.
Isolate them from each other, eh?
Oh god.
What are you thinking?
I don't know.
Okay. Great. Nice contribution there.
Thanks for the... Right.
I was just talking to myself.
Talk to yourself lower.
Uh,
Alright. Any put-ins? What, are we voting or something?
I say we should just wait and pass them by.
Yeah. Which direction did they move? North, east, south?
They're going like west when they leave.
Okay.
Or east,
think,
east rather.
yeah.
It's the
Okay.
opposite.
They're heading. I think they were pulling the piece towards the east, so we can go around them to the west. And
Yeah, and your destination's to the west, anyways.
yeah,
I think the only thing that I could do is that I have a spell that could let me know where they would be as long as they remain on this plane of existence for the next hour. I don't think
Well-
the next hour is going to be very helpful.
no, I think they're moving very slowly with that piece. So an hour for them is probably not very far.
Okay. Yeah. No, I just say we walk around them in a position that we will not disturb them.
Yep.
Yeah.
I mean, we are working different ways, so
No, yeah.
It's pretty easy
Exactly.
to avoid them.
It's easy. Yeah, let's just avoid them.
all right. We avoid.
All right, you avoid the giants. Making your way through. The rest of the day you travel, and then towards the end of the day, you do make your way out of the forest and into sort of the flatlands along the coast of the the sort of coast, and basically you figure it's probably another full day of travel, and then like a half a day before you reach Lexington.
All right.
And let me just see here. Anything else? Okay. Where is the thing? Is there a... No, so it'd be that 16. Okay. All right. So yeah, you guys continue to travel throughout the next day. That day passes uneventfully. And so you get your short rest or whatever at the end.
All right. So we've been 2 days traveling, or we've been 3.
1, 2, then you rested, and now it's like going on to the third.
Okay.
And then yeah, so the third day passes. No, the third day passes uneventfully, so that'd be 3. Yeah.
Okay.
And then I think something is going to occur on the last day. However, we don't have time for that. So next time, we
Next
will
time.
pick
That means
up
something
with
could happen.
whatever the hell happens on the way back to Luskin.
Next time, whatever the fuck.
So, with that, we are done for today. We will see you all again next week. Let me see here. So not you. So I mean, you technically already did it. So, Mike, you shall be in charge of the recap next time.
You excited, Mike?
Shut up.
All right, and that is all for today. Goodbye.